All right, so this argument that she makes again and again, and the defense has made this, that everybody in the world is treating their client unfairly, she's never going to get a fair trial. You know, I'm listening to that and I'm thinking, the evidence is what the evidence is. It's not anybody's fault, except for perhaps Casey Anthony's. If she waited 30 days to tell anybody about it, and actually she just told her mother, she never really reported it. Her mother reported it, so she never really reported it. And then, you know, we hear about the nanny that doesn't exist. I mean, these are things that people are not stupid. And when they hear things that don't make sense, and they realize there's no evidence behind them, people have a right to their opinion. And, I mean, the way they do this is blaming everybody for having a reasonable opinion about the evidence that we've heard so far. Do you think they just continue to whine about something and it's getting old?
Quit whining and get to the defense of this case. The evidence is, the facts are what the facts are. If that is tried before a jury in Orlando, Tampa, New York City, or Timbuktu, the jurors are going to form their opinion based upon their view of that evidence. And if they view that evidence the way that the majority of people that are in the know view that evidence, then it's going to lead to a guilty verdict. And that's not of the state's making, that's not of the press making, that is the facts in the case that were created by their client when she committed this act.
And for them to keep trying to blame everybody else, is this... Is it going to do any good? Like, why do they keep doing it? Everybody listens to it, and it's so obvious what they're doing, and do they really underestimate, does Andrea Lyon really think she's such a genius that everybody else is so stupid that nobody sees through this? I mean, isn't it
Let's view this on two
ridiculous
levels.
Argument?
Let's view this on two levels. One, the level of the court of public opinion. They're trying to turn around the court of public opinion, but each time they come on TV with this whining defense, they are not well received. The other is, all right, the court of jurisdiction, when a jury hears this case, will that play with the jury that hears that case? And the answer to that is no. But Lyon did say that you can't remove emotions, ergo sympathy, from a case like this. And the more you whine about it, my client being innocent and it's everybody else's fault and she's not getting a fair shake, the more you kind of reinforce that. And that may be what we're seeing here, is a continuing effort to reinforce that and hope that some juror gets on that has heard that but is still qualified to sit and buys into that argument.
It's a flimsy, tired argument. I mean, do you really think it's going to work?
Yeah, it is one we have heard over and over, not only in this case, but in other cases also. And in the end, when the court instructs the jury, they will be instructed bias, sympathy, prejudice should not come into your deliberations, and the jurors will divorce themselves from those emotions, and they will render a verdict on the facts, and the facts are what the facts are. And whether it's tried here or elsewhere, they're going to be viewed by a reasonable person the same.
And while we're still on this topic, they first tried to liken Casey Anthony's case to the one-armed man in the Dr. Kimball case. And I guess that hasn't worked because they're still whining about people thinking that she's guilty. Now they're trying to make her out to be like one of the Salem witches. The difference in both of these cases are that they're, when the Salem witch trials, I mean, it was ridiculous. This is not ridiculous. It's not the same thing. I mean, what do you make of them trying to take these other images and these other cases that have nothing to do with and trying to parallel this case to those cases? It's
a very disingenuous argument, and you left out the fact that they tried to shift the focus of blame to Roy Kronk, and somehow he either participated in the murder or the cover-up. So they keep floating these balloons by, and they keep getting popped. And I note that at this point, Lyon indicated, well, my client is not guilty, we have that will be shown at trial, but I'm not going to discuss that now.
Well, and I want to get into that. First of all, she seemed to have trouble even saying that Casey Anthony didn't kill Kaylee. She had trouble saying that. So she's on national television trying to give it her best shot here. That didn't do her any good, Casey or Andrea Lyon.
Right.
Now, the other, obviously, I was struck by that, how difficult it was for her to come out and say that. But now, talking about that issue, this is something that Baez has been saying since the beginning, another tired, flimsy argument that they can't explain why she didn't call for 30 days. They can't explain why Zenaida Gonzalez doesn't exist. And every time they're asked about those things, they keep saying, well, we can't talk about this now, or there's a compelling reason why she didn't call for 30 days, or you're going to have to wait till trial. So, basically, if they want to say that she didn't do it, then someone else did, but they have, not that it's their burden to prove that someone else did, but if they really know that someone else did, why haven't we seen it yet? And then, if they have really credible evidence that someone else did it, then they can maybe spring her out of jail. The fact that you could look at what they're saying in that light, why do they keep making that same tired, flimsy argument again? I mean,
Let's go back to the basics of criminal law. It is called discovery and reciprocal discovery. The state has to share all of their evidence with the prosecution, or with the defense. The defense has to share its evidence that they intend to use at trial by the way of witnesses and documents with the state. If there were evidence, physical evidence, that their client did not commit this crime, they are obligated, not only in service to their client, but by the rules of criminal procedure, to make that information known to the state. And thus far, they have not shared any information with the state other than this attack on Roy Kronk. Other than that, they have not come forth with any evidence to back up their continued assertion that there's compelling reasons why she did what she did or didn't do what she did, and it will all be revealed at trial.
What I'm saying about that is they do keep saying that, but the very fact that that's all they can say at this point, and that they aren't able to produce any information that might be useful in following someone else, if that's what their argument is, again, the argument that they're making falls flat. Do they really think they're fooling anybody by making those statements? I mean, why do they keep making that statement when, if you know anything about the law, as you're talking about, well, they would have had to come forth with whatever information might be so compelling. And if it's so compelling, maybe it would spring her out of jail. Right. Why are they waiting for her to go to trial before they tell us all this information?
Well,
Doesn't it just make no sense, and it makes it sound even flimsier than it...
Absolutely. Again, every time they float that statement by, there's evidence there that will show that she is not guilty of this crime, but yet fail to produce it. It just continues to erode away that argument. And if you really want to liken it to something, liken it to the final 2 minutes in the fourth quarter of a football game. Does the team that is behind wait to play offense in the last 2 minutes?
Well, if you're asking about the Steelers, the answer would be yes.
Yeah, your answer is the Steelers. But you don't wait until you get to trial in order to throw the Hail Mary pass at trial. It doesn't work that way.